All right, hi everybody. I'm Coach Dennis Stoika with Modern Air Warriors. Welcome back for another live podcast. As always, another amazing guest, bringing on like-minded people and a special person today. Always amazing when we bring on special operators from our U.S. Special Forces as well, like we have in the past that have become coaches, amazing persons in life. Hey, so today we have Christopher Lee with us today. His journey of personal development was forged in the crucible of the United States Army as a Green Beret. With a deep rooted passion for pushing beyond boundaries, Chris has embarked on his military journey at the age of 28. Going to talk about that because I have other friends that even to this day in their upper 20s that question, like, am I on the right path? Chris was seeking challenges where success wasn't merely handed out, but earned through sheer grit and determination. Now, after a decade of service to his country, Chris has transitioned his expertise into life coaching. He believes in igniting profound identity shifts within his clients, empowering them to craft their legacy they envision. He is also embarking on his full time coaching journey by founding, make sure I get it right, Ouroboros Solutions. Okay.
Ouroboros Solutions. Yeah,
Ouroboros
yeah.
Solutions in 2021. Today he resides in Colorado, which is an amazing state, a beautiful place, with his two daughters we were just talking about, and continuing to inspire and guide others towards their brightest futures. Chris, thank you so much for being here today. That's short, and we're going to get into your why, purpose, passion, and principles. But what else would you like to add for everyone that's out there?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that intro. That was awesome. And I'm grateful to be here. Thank you so much for
Mhm.
having me on. It's been a wild journey for sure. Got into the Army a little bit later in life. Got to do the Green Beret thing, which was phenomenal, and started my coaching practice as soon as I got out. And then actually just this past October, Nick Lavery asked me to join his team. And so I'm potentially doing the same thing, but under his banner. And so I'm the division lead for machine mentality. And I'm stoked to be a part of that team for sure.
Awesome, very cool. So a lot of other people get together. I get together with some other folks at times too. So that's fantastic to bring again the like-minded people together, doing things, helping each. It's about helping people and doing what we love best, right?
That's right.
Helping people become 1% better every day in every way, and things that are in your book that we're discussed today too, right? So,
Mhm.
all right. So who is Christopher Lee? I start this almost. I think I don't know if every podcast person that I've had on, every guest has gotten it, but I started out as a coach working with my clients. I'm
Mhm.
asking the questions. It's in your book too, right? What's your why? What's your purpose? Your passion? Your principles? You joined the army a little bit later in life. Had great purpose with that, and
Mhm.
now you're a coach and you're a father. So, as I coach people, we can have more than one purpose. Our purpose can change. So we're waiting to hear from you.
Yeah. Uh, Excellent question. And it's one that I've actually been wrestling with for about a year now. Like, who
Mhm.
is Chris Lee? Um, Oftentimes, like, if you bump into somebody, say, "Hey, tell me what you do. Who are you?" They start listing out things that they've done,
Yeah.
and I could do the same thing. Like, I used to be a youth minister. I joined the army, became a Green Beret, I'm a published author. I'm a dad. As I continue to do like the work I do, I realized again those are just things I've done. Being the dad is probably my favorite, and it's a continuing job. But for me, like, who am I? It's I'm a believer, and so like I believe that my identity, who I am, is an eternal soul that's operating this meat suit for a brief period in time. And if I can begin there, then all the things that I do moving forward are an expression of that, as opposed to like trying to earn validation through
Hmm.
various achievements and stuff like that. So when somebody asks, like, Chris, who are you?
Hmm.
I'm the soul that's operating this manifestation of reality, but my purpose, my why, like why I do what I do, I just get so stoked when I get to help people architect their own life according to the standards that they've set for themselves, and then
Hmm.
create like a specific plan to go achieve big goals. oftentimes when folks don't plan out their life, when they let life happen to them, it's just reactive, and you're essentially drifting through life. And we don't need more drifters. We need more people intentional with how they're living.
I like to say we can plan it ourselves, or other people are going to plan it for you, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
Mhm.
100%.
Yeah. And I just recently had another podcast guest too, who's extremely religious. Part of his coaching evolves around religion for men, and his wife coaches women as well, and very deeply rooted with God and
Mhm.
the Bible and passages, and very similar in nature. I mean, he's here to serve, and he's serving by doing what he does, right? So I'm kind of getting that a little bit from what you just said. Awesome.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
So tell us about your time in the military. How did you get started in the military, the Army, the Special Forces, going to it as a Green Beret? And again, if you can, like a high point or two, a couple high points of your career. And lastly, I know it's maybe a little bit long question, but again, I have guys, young men and women that
Mhm.
are into their upper 20s, and they get to the point where they've tried this or that. They've had 2 or 3 jobs, and they're like, "Well, maybe I should still." Always wanted to do it. I'm in law enforcement now, really, but I always wanted to go in the military. Do I do it as a reservist? Right? I get a lot of people still in their late 20s questioning whether it's the right time, and you did.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, 100% right. And from my perspective, going in a little bit later was only an advantage, because I again wasn't like, the military wasn't a last resort for me. It's not that I was confused at high school and like, well, what do I do with my life? It's like,
Mhm.
no, I worked for a while. I decided like, no, I need clear direction, and I need a challenge. And so yeah, enlisting when I was 28 was definitely an advantage. It Admittedly, I spoke to the Marine recruiter first, and he did
You you
say,
you can, it's okay, you can do that.
yeah, it was a trip too, because yeah, I walk into the recruiter's office. I'm like, hey, I want to serve, and the recruiter essentially said, dude, why are you trying to get in so late in the game? I was like, Roger that. And then talked to the Army recruiter, became a Green Beret instead.
Yeah.
um,
Hey,
but
snooze, you lose, right?
yeah, that's right.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, that was part of my journey. But I remember the night I made the decision. I was working at a fancy hotel in Virginia, and I just got super frustrated with kind of the ease of the work, and I was like, Chris, go, you have a little bit more potential than this. Let's go try something hard. And so I
Mhm.
started researching the different branches. I did after the research, I realized like special forces was probably more in line with kind of my mentality and
Mhm.
what I wanted to do. So spoke to the Army recruiter. He's like, dude, there's this thing called the 18 X-ray contract. It's perfect. It's essentially for civilians that want to go have a shot at selection. And this is perfect for you. Perfect. So went to MEPS, had a physical, everything went great. And the doc that was going to give the final sign off said, hey, hold on a second. He's flipping through my file, and he pulls this big book off his shelf and he flips through that. And then the Army regulation says, hey man, I'm sorry, but you had a knee surgery when you were a kid. And part of your meniscus was removed. So I can't give you any airborne contract out of MEPS. Okay, doc, what does that mean? He's like, well, you can still join the Army. You can't do 18 X-ray. Okay, duly noted. So I went out to my recruiter and I told him what happened. I was all poopy face. He's like, hey man, I'll shoot you straight. Like you could still go in and as 11 Bravo or infantryman, and you might maybe pick up a special forces contract while you're there. I was
Mhm.
like, all right, let's do it. So that's essentially what happened. A couple weeks
Okay.
into basic training, some SF recruiters approached me and a handful of other dudes in the company. It was like, hey, would you guys like to try it? Absolutely. Where do I sign that thing? And then the rest was essentially the pipeline. So finished basic, went to airborne school, went to selection prep, and then got through selection. And then the rest was the key course.
Mhm.
And it was a wild ride for sure, because I was like, I don't know if this is going to work out. But when I picked up that contract at basic, I was like, all right, step one, done.
Yeah,
you know,
awesome. Never knowing what the next step is gonna be. Told to go run and not to know how far to run. Run
that's
that
exactly
far,
right.
run that far, and then told you're only halfway, or whatever, right? Or just keep on going. So,
That,
for
that's
those
right.
that don't know, selection is as far as special forces goes, it is definitely a tough thing, right? Comparable to Navy SEALs, Marine Corps Raiders. It is an amazing task for an individual to complete. It is very individualized, less team oriented. Is I haven't been through it, right? But
Mhm.
what I understand, it is very individualized compared to some of the other special forces going through their crucibles. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, there are definitely components of individual work, and such as all the gates, like doing the runs and the rucks and stuff like that. Then
Mhm.
also land nav, you are completely alone out in the woods at night, no flashlight. You're
Mhm.
just navigated with compass and map. There is a team component, which was pretty brutal, and it is testing to see how well you work on a team.
Mhm.
But for sure, there are a lot of individualized components,
Mhm.
and you're always being assessed.
So a highlight definitely being able to do what you wanted to do, right? By obtaining that contract while you're in. Anything else that comes to mind that you want to share as far as a highlight?
Yeah,
Mhm.
working in the community, I got the privilege and honor to work with like some of the best dudes in the world,
Mhm.
and just the smartest, most fit, like greatest people ever. And I knew when I decided to get out of the military, that was going to be the most difficult part, is walking away from my tribe, essentially.
Mhm.
And sure enough, it was the hardest part.
So
When
that
you're
leads
when
us.
you're
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
That leads me into my next question, right? And so,
Yeah.
tell me about your separation, right? Because when I have brought special forces persons on that have become coaches, I probably have asked every one of them this question as well. Some of them have wrote books about that I've persons that I've interviewed about wanting to not be here anymore, right?
Mm,
And then helping others, and continuing to do that today, and opening up businesses and coaching persons and having amazing impact on people's lives after the fact. But separation is huge, right? You're missing your team. There's
yeah.
transitioning. So, what's difficult about transitioning to the next phase of your life at that point? Life after the army and moving into coaching.
Yeah, excellent question. For sure, first and foremost, kind of stepping away from that community that is like you're a part of, and of course you still keep in touch with the guys and might still go out for a drink or go to a barbecue or something like that. But it is different. You're not with them day to day. You're not hanging out with them all day long, going to the range or
Mhm.
doing office work or whatever. And so trying to replace that is rather crucial. What helped me kind of during that period was joining a jujitsu gym, and kind of reestablishing community through a different avenue.
Awesome.
But being kind of like a solopreneur, I work from home. I often work out at home, with my home gym and stuff. It it went from being part of a very tight tribe and community to like being
Mhm.
alone a
Mhm.
lot,
Mhm.
which was difficult for sure.
Very good. I'll ask the question since from your past too, and your comment that you made already too. How did being part of God being in your life and Jesus and being a Christian affect that and help you go about your work being at home?
Another great question. So a little backstory on me. I grew up in the church. I actually
Mhm.
went to school to study religion and with the
Mhm.
intent to be a youth pastor. I actually ran out of cash my senior year, so came back home to Virginia and worked in a church for a number of years,
Mhm.
and then was on staff as a youth pastor. Uh, During that period, I began to question my faith, and start asking questions that I just couldn't get an answer that I found acceptable. Uh, to the point where I actually considered myself an atheist, and that's
Mhm.
and then right after that, I joined the Army. So most of my military career, or pretty much all of my military career, I was a non-believer. And it wasn't until like 2 years separated from the Army that I stepped back into my faith and started seeking God more. And so to answer your question, that transition period was difficult because I didn't, at the time, I didn't have a higher power or a bigger story to call on to give me strength. It was just kind of like white knuckling through life during that period.
And I say that and bring that up too, because it's another community, right? Part of coaching, right? Your life coaching, my coaching, special forces, me in the Marine Corps, me, my time in with the FBI, my law enforcement, the agency that I'm with now today, right? That's all community. It's community in my gym, community of BJJ gym, et cetera, right? Community in my gym with the weights, right? Community in BJJ gym and martial arts, et cetera, right? So we have those different places that people go to obtain that things that we need for in those situations as well. So awesome. Tell us about your coaching and training people beyond the battlefield to conquer life challenges. A little bit about the coaching, and then what that looks like for you. If you have a specific program or very tailored, tell us about that, and then we'll go into your book shortly.
Yeah. I begin when I bring on a new client. I always start with like, tell me who you want to be before you tell me what you want to achieve, because that identity piece becomes foundational. And becomes like this steady foundation that you can stack your goals. It also acts as a really good filter to goals that don't align with the direction you actually want to take in life. So it's always tell me who you want to be. And I break life down into 5 categories. So there's mental, physical, emotional, social, and financial. Each of those could have subcategories to it, but those are the heavy hitters in my opinion. And if you can establish like a clear identity for each one of those, again, that acts as your filter. And from that, you get to build 5-year goals in each of those categories. And so my process is like, all right, let's establish identity. That becomes the bedrock foundation. Let's make really big 5-year goals for each of those categories. And now let's backwards plan and figure out exactly the steps that are required to achieve those goals.
How to get there from where we are today.
Exactly. And it's consistency is better than like sporadic motivation, right? And so when I take somebody's 5-year goal and break it down into first year, first month, first week, down to the daily level, each task, each daily step moving towards that big goal is bite size, and it's much more manageable. It's less intimidating. And it's like, if you can just stay consistent and then let time pass, you're going to be.
And Chris, this is why I currently have a coach right now. I'm a coach and I have a coach right now. Yeah. Right. So it is vital, right? For number one, a term that I got from a Navy SEAL, right? I eat my own dog shit. So, right. So I do what I tell people to do, right? You do what you tell people to do, right? And that requires us to have purpose also, and accountability, and to make sure that we're on point. We have front sight focus, and we're being accountable to someone else too, because it's even though we know what to do, we still also need someone to assist us along the path, ask questions, what's working well, what's not working well, setting high standards so we do fail at times, or figure out maybe I don't want to do this, I should do this, right? How to pivot, that OODA loop going on, right? Observe, orient, decide, and act, things of that nature, right? So that is fantastic, and that ladies and gentlemen, that's in his book as well, right? Those 5 pillars, I call them pillars in my coaching. So his 5 areas. So within the book is that as well. So tell us about the book Beyond the Battlefield. How did it come about, and what is it about, right?
Yeah. Writing a book has always been kind of on my bucket list. And this was back in 2024, I think. I went and did a speaking engagement with Nick Lavery, and gave my little talk, and then he gave his awesome talk. And afterwards, he kind of saddles up next to me and was like, "Hey man, have you considered writing a book?" It's like, yeah, it's kind of on my list.
Mhm.
I'll definitely consider it. And then like a week later, a publishing company reached out to me on social media. It was like, hey, have you considered writing a book? It's like, message
Mhm.
received. Yeah, let's do this. And so Game Changer Publishing, I worked with them, and that process was phenomenal. I developed a really bad habit in college where, as I'm typing, I edit, which is not great if you're trying to get a manuscript done. And so what they did is they essentially set up a Zoom call, and they were like, be able to talk about each chapter for like 45 minutes. And that's what we did. They just recorded me speaking
Mhm.
through each chapter, and then the transcript became my manuscript.
I basically did the same thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I did a very similar thing too, where it's like, "Hey, you people know what you're doing for a living, right? This is what you do. So just
right.
talk about it, and
Yeah,
we'll assist you put it on paper." That's fantastic. Yeah,
yeah. It
awesome.
was it was huge. The book is essentially my whole coaching philosophy in
Mhm.
140 pages. I throw in some fun stories, and I've got a little bit of humor in there, but
Mhm.
it goes through my whole process. Like, figure out your identity, establish long-term goals, and backwards plan,
Yeah.
and go execute.
And there's some exercises in here like I put in my book too. So there's a little bit of homework along the way for you to stay engaged and do as
Right.
well, to get you in the mindset of, and then maybe give you a little bit of taste of what the coaching's about, to give you a call, et cetera, work with you, et cetera. So, hey, I loved chapter one, right? And so, chapter one, it's all up to you. All right.
Mhm.
And there's an exercise in there about 4,000 weeks. I mentioned this to you before. And
Yeah.
can I share a little bit with everyone right now what that is?
Please. Yeah.
Awesome.
Please. Yeah.
So, so Chris wants you to take some moments of your time when you read this book and evaluate how many weeks we actually have remaining in our life. And there's a little math. It's a very easy mathematical formula. I won't go through the formula, which basically determines on average how many weeks you got left. And I'm not 28 years old. You're not 28 years old anymore. And
Right.
it's an amazing look into how little time we are actually here on this planet. And I think again, helps you get focused. I make everyone write their obituary, right? And
Mm,
so it took me. I didn't want to write my own. Didn't want to
right.
write my own, let alone I tell my clients to write their own, right? So it's a huge perspective. Can you tell me maybe a little bit about how impactful that's been when someone looks at this exercise?
Yeah, yeah. Again, you hit it on the head. It's designed to. It takes the average lifespan broken down into weeks, for the typical American,
Hmm.
and now you just calculate how many weeks you have left according to that average, and it is eye opening
Yeah,
because, it's like, oh, I only have X number of weeks on
yeah,
average on this planet. And the intent behind it was to create, a sense of urgency. There's a tendency to get a little complacent, like, "Oh, I'll just
hmm,
do that tomorrow," and that
yeah.
turns into next month to next year, and you just don't get anything done. So the intent was to create some urgency, and let people understand truly that, time is finite here on this planet.
Time is finite, and I was just thinking in my head, time is now, right?
Right. Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
so many. So you just said it yourself. I'll do it tomorrow, or whatever you just said, right? Too. And I get so many people. I can't come into the dojo. I can't get in your coaching yet. I need to get prepared before I do you or come to you. I need to do this first. I'm like, hey man, jump in the fire, right? Jump in the
Right.
fire. So
Yep.
awesome. Chapter two. Who the hell are you? It talks about non-negotiable items, which is awesome because
Yeah.
this to me is kind of what I asked you. What's your purpose, passion, and principles, right?
Mhm.
To me that is a little bit of that.
Right.
And you talk about having self-respect.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I would argue that one can operate better in life when
Hmm.
they've set standards for themselves,
Yep.
and then create boundaries around those standards and don't negotiate with them.
Hmm.
Uh, and that self-respect, it's huge because it over days, weeks, months, years, when you've maintained a standard and you've held that boundary and not let anything, disrupt that standard, it creates a track record of capability, a track record that you can call upon for confidence. And so that self-respect, it starts with like day one, like create the standard, live up to the standard, don't let anything interfere with that standard. And over enough time, you've developed a sense of confidence, like I know exactly who I am, I know what I will tolerate and what I won't, and I'm on a mission. Either help me or get out of the way,
How you show up every day and continue to knock down the dominoes is how I look at that conversation. That is awesome, Chris.
Yeah.
How you show up every day. And you cannot, as well as you, right, myself, right, every day in every way, you got to show up. What you did yesterday doesn't count anymore, right?
100%. All you have is the now.
Yep. All you have is the now. Chapter 3 is becoming the most interesting person you know. I thought this was the best title of any of your chapters. And then we briefly talked about this, but it's what I strive for in my coaching too, and I'll refer to it as 1% improvement. Right, we're continuing to learn. Can you share what you're looking for for coaching clients to do here?
Yeah, that title actually started as a challenge between my buddy Travis and I, and it's kind of this ongoing bet, like who's the most interesting person between the two of us. But it started with a conversation. We were in his car. It was like, "Hey, dude, who's the coolest guy you know? Who's the most interesting guy you know?" And I thought for a little bit. I'm like, "I don't know, man." And he's like, "If it's not you, then you're doing something wrong." And it was definitely a perspective shift. Like, oh yeah, this is my life. I get to make it as fun and interesting as possible.
Yeah.
And that includes, how do I get better every day? How do I improve from yesterday's performance? And maybe that's, working out in the gym or perfecting a particular move in jujitsu or learning new things. I think in the book I included this maxim that's like, if you read 3 books on any topic, you're essentially an expert in it compared to the rest of the population. Well, if you stretch that out over 5 years or a lifetime, you could learn a lot about a lot of things, and then just become the most fun person to talk to at a party. You know what I mean? Because like you can touch on all kinds of different topics.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's like how much depth can you create in life, and how much fun can you have doing it?
And then you can start making commercials about being the most interesting man.
That's right.
Right. All good. Hey, so we're going to move on for time purposes. Thanks. Chapter 4, you should be the calmest one in the room. It kind of moves from, right, I should be the most interesting person, but then I should be the most calm person as well, right? So this is about stress inoculation, right?
Yeah.
I think about doing the hard things so I'm able to be calm under pressure.
Right. And that was almost directly derived from my medical training during the Q course. It was trauma heavy, and so the cadre would intentionally stress you out while you're working on your patient. And it was awesome because a great deal of reps under those kinds of conditions translates into I can perform regardless of circumstance, and that calm. Yes, there's benefit from being like pretty zenned out and like just chill. But for me, it was always like, how do I remain calm amidst chaos so I can help people better? Because when everybody panics, nothing gets done and nobody's helped. And so it was always the intention was like, how do I serve better? Well, I have to remain calm,
So I think that paragraph leads into, or excuse me, that chapter leads into chapter 6 too, because looking good naked and be hard to kill, right? Another awesome title, by the way, right? But I believe, and maybe it just comes from people like you and me, right? And when you do the hard things, like the hard physical work, it helps you. It is a tool. It is an exercise that allows us to work on that stress inoculation, and we use it as an exercise, as a tool to create the things that we need in order to be calm in any environment. But we can do that with, I think that's from the military. We start with that hard exercise So it's just maybe easy for us. Maybe that's just what we learned. That we're sharing our knowledge that we have with people. Does that is that a good purpose of your looking good and naked and be hard to kill? Does it assist with the stress inoculation?
I think so. When you've pushed your body hard, either in a gym setting or hit workout or jujitsu, whatever, you one, learn your limitations, two, learn how to push beyond those limitations, and three, learn how to trust your body. Like if you can just trust your body to be able to do difficult things in difficult circumstances, there is a level of calm that kind of oozes over you, because it's like, I can handle this situation. I've put myself through difficult situations in controlled environments. This is just another stressful situation that I can handle. Yeah, absolutely.
An additional chapter 5 also talks about show me your friends, right? And I'll show you your future.
Right.
So in the principle that you have in there, iron sharpens iron, love the term myself too. But I also refer to it as, from my time in the service and even throughout life, right? Having a battle buddy. So a person that's close to me, someone that can hold me accountable, my coach or my best friend or the guy that's beating me up every class in jiu-jitsu, right? My partner, right? But then the larger the community of practice, whether that's your BJJ gym, your CrossFit gym, your whatever gym, your community of other people in a coaching group, whatever that might be, right? Like-minded people. So, what more do you have to share with regards to the like-mindedness and friends and how you promote community?
Yeah, I think one should be just as selective with who they let into their inner circle as they are with the kinds of workouts they do, the kind of food that they eat. It should be, not everybody should get access. You know what I mean? And you mentioned iron sharpens iron. That is spot on. Something that I was reminded of this year is that's referencing like the sharpening of a blade, which requires friction and the grinding away of the unnecessary, And so what does that mean in a relationship or a dynamic within a tribe? It's like, you have to create a space where that friction is okay to have, where I can stand in your fire and be like, hey dude, you are not measuring up. And you have to know that I'm coming from a place of love and accept it. It's not,
this
it's
is
not a place
so
to get
hard, Chris, in the business world. This is so hard outside even in the military, I think these days, right? Unless you're with a special group of guys that you were with, or a small group on a team, small group in my gym, I want you to hold me accountable. When I show up and I'm not ready, or you're telling me that, hey, what's going on? What's wrong? You're a little bit off, or the last couple of weeks, what's going on, right? I want a highest level of performance from myself and my teammates. And it's about holding each other accountable to a level that we've all agreed to, right? And I feel in the business world, we're just soft. It is what it is with human resources and things like that, right? Too. It just doesn't have. You said it yourself, with love. It comes from care inside, right? To have that best organizational output.
Absolutely. Yeah. Another quote I say often is, real friends stab you in the face. They don't talk about you behind your back. They sit in front of you and say, hey, dude, you're not meeting the standard. What's up?
Yeah. I welcome it, and I promote it. I promote it as well, and I ask people to hold me accountable. Awesome.
Good.
All right, we're gonna move on. How to make it happen. So you talk about a few things that are needed to be done daily. I'll share them with some folks here, right? Waking up 45 minutes early, right? Spending some time with yourself to do some of these things, right? Having a drink of water, start your day. You haven't hydrated. You've been sleeping for the last 5, 7, 8 hours, right? Maybe 9 hours, whatever someone's getting, or less. 2 hours of sleep that I get last night. Yes, 2 hours of sleep. So completing a short hit workout, awesome. I promote 20 minutes plus or minus workouts. I don't know what you can tell us in a second what you're promoting for that. I know you get that one of your chapters about hitting martial arts, right? Specifically BJJ. Writing at least one sentence in a journal. Love it. I love it, right? Because
Yeah.
spending some time, people will say journal in the morning or read a book, read the Bible, do a short meditation, which you have in here too, right? Then write down what you're going to do for the day, things of that nature is right, and then you just get ready for the day. But I love, you're making it simple. Write down one thing in your journal,
Yeah.
right? That's
Yeah.
obviously on your mind or important to you. Can you tell us how important having a daily ritual or morning ritual like this is for you and your clients?
Yeah. It's important, and kind of what I described in the book, particularly in that section, is just do something small, but do it a lot. So drink
Mhm.
that glass of water, do that 10-minute meditation, write that one sentence.
Mhm.
The intent isn't to change everything right now.
Mhm.
It's going to happen over time, and it requires that consistency. And so the intent behind kind of that like little morning ritual that I put in the book was, how do I make this as simple as possible so people will do it?
100%.
I've seen some like wild morning routines online. It's like, dude, how do you have 2 hours to bust all of that out?
Yeah.
It's like, no, just keep
Mhm.
it simple, but do it consistently. And that is the game changer, because then that builds that track record of like, no, I follow through on the promises I make to myself, and I can trust myself. And it that consistency is huge.
The basics done well over time lead to mastery.
Yes.
And you're hitting it out of the park by your recommendation to do some small things well. You do them consistently, you're dedicated. I don't need the next shiny thing. I just need to do what I do on that daily basis, right? Because it comes back to, again, who the hell am I? I have self respect.
Right.
I'm going to get up every day. I'm going to have my glass of water. I'm going to get my 10-minute workout in. This is who I am, right? The Marine Corps,
Yeah.
by the way, if you join the Marine Corps, you would have the saying. So
I tried.
it's what's the saying? It's going to come to my mind. I was thinking of it earlier. This is how I train. This is who I am. I will fight until the battle is won. That's the saying that comes to my mind,
I love it.
which kind of comes back to a lot of things. It sums up a lot of what we just said here, right? Who you are, respect for yourself, realizing that life is short. I'm going to work on these small things and the things that matter to me the most. Be around those that I want in my life. Have others in my life that
Yeah.
are important to me. Have that iron sharpens iron, that buddy, right? That battle buddy, making it happen, etc. So hey, I'm gonna have it. We're beyond our time already. Time goes by quick. Awesome. I had a couple extra questions. I'm gonna ask you a crazy question today too, right? If you could have
Yeah.
one superhero power, what would it be?
Ah, man, this is like the hardest question.
I know it sucks.
Ah,
I have no
it
idea
would,
what I would say if I got some surprise questions, right?
yeah,
So
it would either be telekinesis, because growing up I was a Star Wars fan. Like being able to move stuff with my mind would be
yeah.
dope. Uh, or time manipulation. Just pause
Ah,
time, take an hour long nap, or read a book, and then
time and
cape
space
right back up.
distortion. That would be pretty cool too.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, Chris, tell everyone a little bit more books on Amazon or anywhere else, your website, et cetera, where people can reach out to you, please. Any social media that you want to share, et cetera, with
Yeah,
everybody.
you can find my book on Amazon, Beyond the Battlefield. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok. It's coach_Chris.Lee. Shoot me a DM if you're interested and
Mhm.
want to chat. I'm there
Yeah.
for you.
Awesome. Hey, I thank you so much. You're amazing to have on as well, right? And a team out there, right? Modern Air Warriors. The book is an excellent book. I don't care if you look. You can have a coach, you can have me as a coach, you can have someone else as a coach, right? You're always going to get different perspective. I have a coach in my life, like I said, right now too. I've had multiple different coaches, right? Get different perspectives, get different people to push you, right? So check out Chris's book, and if interested with getting another coach, whether that's this year, next year, whatever your goals look like, give him a call. Great advice about the 5-year plan and breaking down all those areas into yearly goals, semi-annual goals, quarterly goals, monthly goals, all the way down to that week and that day. So, hey, you know the drill, everybody. Thank you so much, Chris. Stay on for a minute for me.
Yeah.
Until next time, train hard, train smart, train safe, train real, and train for life, everybody. We'll see you in the next podcast. Take care.